If you go down in the woods today, the ambulance won't reach you. Is this enough? With James O'Donoghue and David Hoare. Hello and welcome to episode 45 of Is This Enough? The really brilliant game show that is simultaneously both brilliant and excellent. There's a brim full of Asher on the 45, and everybody needs a bosom for a pillow. And you can visit my website and buy my new David Hoare bosom body pillow for just £69. We've made up 3 rounds for each other, and neither of us knows what the other has made. Along the way, we'll have some guests and a bit of silliness. There'll be some prizes and some forfeits. With me, as ever, is comedian, actor, painter, and bosom, James O'Donoghue.
Good afternoon.
James is, of course, Departmental Health Week. Here at Is This Enough? Yeah. How healthy are your departments?
I would say finance is doing fine, but culture, media, and sport could do with an overhaul.
Really?
Yeah.
Good. It's nice to think that you're financially fine, but everything else is rubbish. Is that how, like, millionaires feel?
I hope so.
Maybe even kabillionaires. Last week, I won, and I won a COVID booster jab, which would have been really useful before around Christmas, when I probably had I definitely was ill for like 2 weeks, and then my girlfriend got ill for 2 weeks, and we're like, was it COVID?
Yeah. There's loads of mystery illnesses where you're like, that was probably
that might have been a cheeky little bit of COVID.
Probably the big vid.
It's back. It's back, baby, in POG form. James lost, and he received a booster seat injected directly into his ass. How's that?
I mean, I'm safe for most cars. For most.
And you got an excellent view of the road as well.
Absolutely, I do.
Fantastic. We hope you'll play along at home, and please let us know your scores. You can follow us at Is This Enough Pod on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and Substack. Oh. James, would you like to know this week's prizes and forfeits?
I would love to.
Oh, great. For episode 45 of Is This Enough, if you win, you will receive a bosom for a pillow.
Hey! There we go.
Yeah, which is nice. But if you lose, you'll have a bosom as a profile picture on all your social media accounts.
Oh no. Oh, no. I'd rather an AI-generated Excel bully.
With a little British flag.
British flag.
I was hacked on Instagram, and they turned my Instagram profile picture into a pair of tits. And I told that to comedian Freya Mallard, who turned to me and went, "Oh, you're not a pair of tits."
You did get booked more for that week. Oh, boy!
James, do you think this will be enough?
I think it will be enough to get through to regionals.
Regionals. Please remember these important rules, listener.
Keep it light, keep it tight, please don't fuck my wife. Keep it light, keep it tight, please don't fuck my wife.
It's over to me for round 1. Round 1. James.
Come on.
Round 1 is
what
called
is it?
General Knowledge.
I won. We broke him. He broke himself with all that aim to break me, dear listener and occasional viewer. David has he did not check himself. Therefore, he did wreck himself, as the prophecy foretold.
As the prophecy foretold.
This
James,
is the happiest day of my life.
Oh, that's nice. I'm glad I could be here for it and responsible for it, even if it is my own downfall. I just love you that much that I'm like, how do I make James happy? Destroy myself. Great.
I hope this isn't the happiest day of my life, because I went to the gym and I would like to think that on the happiest day of my life, I've done very little exercise.
Yeah, fair. I mean, I think this might be slightly profound. The best things often aren't fully planned. And part of
Yes.
the element of enjoying it is surprise. Now, that could be that I've got ADHD and I love dopamine, and the dopamine spike is like,
Mm.
like one of the best live bands I ever saw was Gary Newman at Sonosphere. I could name you about 3 Gary Newman songs that I actually know and love and like. But just we went to go see him being like, well, hopefully he'll play one of those 3 songs I know. And then he was basically as heavy as Nine Inch Nails and played the
Yes.
songs we like and just sort of surprised us and blew our minds. And
Uh,
the pure surprise was like, whoa.
Yeah. No, late day Gary Newman is really good.
Great. Really good. Anyway, James, in the 90s, before the sick freaks were putting stuff in our food, water, and weather events, tornadoes did not need to have sharks in them to be scary. Also in the 90s, ice lollies were off the chain. Also in the 90s, dry humping orgy was considered a family board game. But was this sentence said during the film Twister, whilst eating a Twister, or playing Twister? It's Twister,
Okay.
Twister, Twister.
Okay.
James,
Here we go. Here we go.
Have you seen, eaten, or played Twister?
Yes.
Have you eaten the film Twister? Have you
Two,
eaten a
two
board
of
game?
3. 2 of 3.
Can I guess which?
Yes.
I'm assuming you have played Twister.
Yeah, well, you're good.
You are a child of relatively similar age to me, despite the fact that you don't remember the 90s that well. I don't think you've seen the film Twister.
You'd be correct.
Okay,
You'd be
fair enough.
correct.
Well, James, that might limit you, but it also might help that if you don't recognize it from the 2 that you have experienced, then maybe that can only leave it open for the other one. This is for 1,000 points a question. Question number 1, James, which sentence is this from? Oh, that's gone right up inside of me.
That is eating a Twister. Surely.
Correct. When I fell over eating a Twister, that is absolutely correct. 1,000 points to you there. Very,
Ain't
very
that
good.
sick.
Question number 2. Twister, Twister, or Twister. When did I say this? Right foot blue.
That's playing Twister, surely.
Oh, no, it's that scene in Twister where the main character gets frostbite. I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
Sorry
See,
about that. Question number 3. Twister, Twister, or Twister. Look out for that tornado.
That's surely playing Twister, but you live in a very flat plane.
Yes, in fact, yeah. Looking at a pretty horrific game of Twister that happened to me that day.
This was a busy day.
Busy day. And your final one for this round, question number 4. Twister, Twister, or Twister. Lick it.
Oh, I'm going to say this is a trick question because it turns out you put the wrong DVD in the player when you were watching the film Twister.
Oh, you think I watched a different movie?
You watched the film Titty Twister.
I may have done on a separate day, but no, that was just whilst eating a lollipop, you pervert. So, half right, half wrong. James, you're on 2,000 points. You're in the lead. I'm very proud of you. I love you. I'm glad this is the best day of your life. It's over to you for round 2.
Round 2.
Oh, well, David. My. Round
Oh,
two. Come now. Round 2 is called I Apologize for My Cowardice. David, you might remember last week we had a game called Who's in My Closet? Bastard Coward Ways Out, a miserable little compromise of my original intent. I cannot allow this to besmirch my record. So as such, I shall now present my partner's original idea as it was meant to be seen. David, this is Who's in My Cupboard. Here are various celebrities coming in and out of cupboards. You have sound of their hinges, nothing more. Please tell me who this is.
Okay. Now, I was going to say, like, the sound of it is quite gentle and soft. It wasn't like a big, forceful moving open. I want to say it's somebody akin to, like, Peter Sallis.
Peter Sallis from Last of the Summer's Wine and, of course, Wallace.
Yeah, he is Wallace.
Someone akin to?
Am I in the right ballpark?
No, not at all.
Would it be unusual to see one of him or his collective going down the hill in a bath?
No.
Okay. Are they on screen though?
They're on multiple screens.
Oh, is it Chris Whitty?
It's not Chris Whitty.
Am I closer with Chris Whitty?
Can't. I feel like no, you're not.
Mazumba from.
It's not Lizo Mazumba from Newsround or the entertainment section of BBC News.
Did he get another job?
Yeah, he did. He was.
I only remember
him
from when he was on Newsround. Crazy that they had kids news, isn't it?
That's great.
They had to explain what like 9/11 was and stuff.
And how you can make your own at home. What you're going to need is not jet fuel.
Oh, no. Robert Downey Jr.?
I'm going to give you one last guess, David.
Okay. Was it your partner?
It's not my partner.
Okay.
These are worth 2 million a piece, by the way.
Damn it. I feel like I on 2 million there.
And I'm afraid I can't give you the point for that. That is, of course, Gemma Collins.
Ah, fair enough. Absolutely fair enough.
Okay, so
she does get about.
She does get about into cupboards. David, who is this?
Is it Jeremy Paxman?
It's not Jeremy Paxman.
Is it a Jeremy?
It's not.
But you seemed kind of...
No, I was just excited to remember out Jeremy Paxman. I miss him.
I really miss him presenting University Challenge. I don't mind the new guy. He's fine. But he doesn't have the pure disdain for every single person.
He doesn't actively look like he's plotting the murder of the contestants.
I would say the latter half he gets a bit more intense, and the last like 3 minutes of the like 20-minute time running of
University
Challenge. I literally see him go ask when he's like he'll like start like at the beginning they get ages to answer the question, and then he'll be like, come on, and I've literally seen him been like, in what year were the pyramids finally constructed? Come on! Like he doesn't even give him a chance to answer, and he goes, come on! And it's like, the new guy will never be able to like recreate that intensity because that's just not who he is. Like I saw him once. He was asking the question like, "What's the name of when you have coffee with ice cream in it?" Is it? I forgot, however, and he didn't say yes when they answered correctly. He just went, "It's delicious, isn't it?" Which is
no, I don't want your opinion. I don't want to think of you eating delicious ice cream. You need to hate that I didn't get it immediately. That's the whole point.
Antagonistically impatient. James, was the hinge? Was it Claudia Winkley Dinkelmans?
David, I cannot give you that. That is, of course, George Bernard Shaw.
Oh,
the playwright and economist and founder of the London School of Economics. David,
really?
Yeah.
He wrote plays and founded a School of Economics.
Yeah.
Somebody told me the other day that I look my age. And it was during Change Day. It was devastating. Basically, there was the local comedian who's only known me like a short period of time was like, your mustache and glasses, you know, you're the sort of person that looks your age. And I was like, oh, you didn't know me when I looked baby faced for like the entire rest of my life. You just know me as this kind of like new version of this.
Yeah.
And then
World War One group
isn't it?
captain.
Yeah, isn't it? It's really annoying that you haven't seen me looking so young. And I turned to backup to June Tuesday, who's known me for ages, and they were like, yeah, it's weird that now you've aged a bit, you look your age. And I was like,
well, the thing is if you shaved the mustache and took off the glasses, then you would look.
oh, these wrinkles are not.
Oh.
Hang on.
Oh,
Do I
well,
look-
you
do I
look
look
younger.
older
You
then?
just you look younger. You just look traumatized.
Yeah, that's true. I have shown some people some photos from about a month before I got the mustache, and they're like, that was about 5 years ago, right? 10 years ago. And I'm like,
Ah,
"Oh, that was a month before I got the mustache. So
there we go.
only 2023.
You still do look like Dane DeHaan. Question 3: who's this?
Is it Tom Baker era Doctor Who?
It's not Tom Baker era Doctor Who. That would be good, wouldn't it?
Sounded like the TARDIS was trying to get out of the cupboard.
It does. It does sound like that. It's a very. This is a maybe an older door, maybe a less well looked after.
Is it Robert Walton?
It's not Robert Walpole. It is, of course, Bert Williamson. Cannot give you that point.
Are we implying that Bert Williamson, stand-up comedian Bert Williamson, are we implying that he is older than Robert
No,
Walpole?
we're implying that he lives in a church,
Oh, okay.
and
Is he a
then
man of God?
I mean, you would hope so. Finally, David.
This t-shirt does kind of look like I've got a dog collar on. Sorry, yeah. Play that again. Is that a cupboard or a crock pot? I'm really enjoying the idea of you hooking up a microphone to all the different cupboards in your flat to record this, by the way. With the celebrities crawling out of them. Is it Lorraine Kelly?
It's not Lorraine Kelly. We're gonna think.
Is that the end of the sentence? We're gonna think.
We're gonna think. We're gonna think a bygone era in Europe. Someone whose passing led to great consequence.
Was it Franz Ferdinand?
David, it was absolutely the Archduke Franz Ferdinand. You've just got yourself 2 million points.
Yes. Fuck yes.
Well done, David. I'm very proud of you. And as such, your reward is round 3.
Round 3.
Thank you, James. I do sometimes just stop and think about how the band Franz Ferdinand were like, what should we name our band after? The
Yeah.
guy who got murdered that resulted in millions of people dying.
I feel like Franz Ferdinand got caught up in a wave of kind of indie trash, and they didn't necessarily deserve to be thought in of that movement. Because there's
they have
weird...
some bangers. Do you know the band Misty's Big Adventure?
No.
Okay, I think you'd fucking love them. One of their band members is literally a guy who just dresses up in a big like red cloak that's just covered in inflatable like kitchen gloves. It's good.
Okay.
They have a song called "I Want a Biscuit," which is based on austerity. They wrote it in like 2014 or 2015. And they were like, "I'm going to play the part of the British public, and our saxophonist here is going to play the part of David Cameron," and it's just him going, "I want a biscuit." Din 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 din. You can't have one. Din 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 din. But they have a song called "The Fashion Parade," and it's basically them taking the piss out of like all the bands that basically Like, hey guys, the literal middle bit is not even singing, it's just them going, hey guys, I've had a great idea. I've gone and bought a bunch of post-punk records. Why don't we listen to them and then rip them off? And I think we'll make a ton of money. And then they managed to both parody Kaiser Chiefs and Franz Ferdinand because they go, oh, lots of money, lots and lots of money, lots of money, lots and lots of money. It's very good. But I still like some Franz Ferdinand stuff.
Yeah. We don't get anymore in songs, nor do we get hey.
Yeah, well, they just got parodied too much,
Hmm.
and I think it's okay. The first time somebody did the hey thing, it was quite fun. It's basically sometimes there's like one song that a band does, and people are like that song was good, and then another band is like, why don't we just make our entire band that?
Yeah. Well,
It's
there's like, because there's really good folk groups out there like Lankum, or kind of people who take folk really seriously and do like particularly songs that are old or are kind of rooted in a place or a time.
Folklore.
What? What?
LAW, by the way, not LORE, folklore.
I can't remember what I was watching or reading, but someone pointed out that the difference between like an authentic song and a kind of song built to sell everywhere is specificity. So if you listen to songs of a time and of a place, it's very specific about, we're in this street, you held my hand and we ran down to here, and this is why it's lovely to fall in love in Swindon. Whereas if you listen to stuff that's made to sell in multiple places, they keep it as vague as possible, like Country Roads. So like Country Roads by Ed Sheeran is there to sound like it could be in any place.
Yeah, you can insert yourself as the main character.
Yeah.
I always think the funniest one of them is the guy who, because David Bowie wasn't selling very well, so he had to sell one of his songs, and so another more twee pop guy did a cover of "Oh You Pretty Things," and he thought he made it into this charming little jig, and then at the end of the chorus, it's just like, "Gotta be true to the hope of superior." And everyone who just heard the little folk version is just loving the little pretty things, and then they're like, "What's that bit?"
there's a lot of Crowley and sort of
it's really
like nihilism and
song.
Yeah.
And he just turned it into a pop song. But we could go. We're about to fall down a rabbit hole of one of my favorite topics, which is people who don't know what songs are about, who play them at the wrong circumstance. I once got humiliated when I was in the Cub Scouts. I can't remember, did I tell you this before? Basically, when they basically played a montage of us at Cub camps and stuff when we were moving to the Scouts and stuff, and they played "I Hope You Had the Time of Your Life" by Green.
Yeah.
And then they went, "Who knows what the title of that song is?" And I was like, eager beaver music kid. I went, "That's Green Day. It's Good Riddance," which I thought was quite funny. And they went, "No, it's not called Good Riddance."
Yeah.
Knows. And then they went, "It's Time of Your Life." Yeah, it's Time of Your Life. And I spent the rest of the evening being like, because it's a breakup song.
Yeah.
And All Saints covering Under the Bridge, even though it's good fun, they don't know it's about heroin.
Yep.
Alexandra Burke, was it? Or was it Leona Lewis? Leona Lewis covered Hurt by Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
Johnny Cash. That's about heroin. People playing "I'll Be Watching You" at their weddings whilst people are going down the aisle. That song is about a stalker. I just love it. I absolutely love it. Every time it happens, I absolutely piss myself. I have no idea what they're on about. And then they're like, it's got the words in it.
Yes.
Which leads me back to the thing, which is I think the reason that you would consider the "hey" folk music, is because it has all the potential things of folk music. It's kind of like twee guitar, but it's not really folk music. It's kind of like folk infused pop music.
Yeah.
But people are like, I like folky stuff, and then that kind of gets
Like
like genres only really exist to help compartmentalize in your head.
I saw a video, I think it was Molly May, talking about I love horror so much, and I went to see this new film. It's called Nosferatu, and I didn't like it. And it's like, yeah, because it's. She was like, it's the horror, and I just felt uncomfortable. It's like, yes, it's a deeply
Whoa.
weird and unsettling film, but it doesn't like tell you, whoa, boo, there he is. Oh no, we gotta run away from him. He just appears to you at night and he goes, I'm going to fuck your wife. I shall not keep it light or tight.
Oh Jesus! I saw the worst version of that the other day, which was my girlfriend had the Harry Potter movie on ITV2. Which, if you're watching a film on ITV2, is such a specific experience.
Oh
You've
yeah.
basically gone,
Oh,
all
yeah.
right. It's like you've been flicking through the channels and you're like, oh, halfway through.
Oh, Hot
I don't know
Fuzz
what
is
else-
it?
I've not really got anything else on. Yeah.
It's Hot Fuzz. It's Run Fat Boy Run. It's
Yeah.
a Harry
And
Potter
essentially-
film.
There's a bit where they're using music to keep a dog asleep.
Yeah.
There's a big scary dog, and the music playing keeps the dog asleep. The music has already been put on by somebody else, and they're like, who is it? They're looking down this hole, which the guy has gone down, and working out where to go down it. The music stops, and so the dog's going to wake up, and that is tense, that they don't know that's going to happen. And the way that the people made that film implied the music has stopped, and that is tense, is they put tense music underneath it,
Yeah.
which is the exact opposite of what it should have just remained silent.
Yes. Silence is difficult to do.
And I was just like, you've completely gone against the whole point of that. Anyway, James, round 3 is called How Are You? The last thing James said before we started is, I really need to keep this one tight. And we've fallen down such a rabbit hole of nonsense. We were complaining about folk music, and now I'm complaining about Harry Potter movies. James, how the fuck are you? Tell me immediately.
David, I'm absolutely fine, but upstairs his fire alarm is dying and it's letting out an annoying beep. And I don't know how to address that because part of me wants to go up and say, oi, sort it out. But I also know that our fire alarm is too oversensitive and sometimes it will just go off because it can smell a sausage. So I'm in a bit of a quandary of whether to go up and say, excuse me, can you put a battery in your fire alarm, or whether to not. And then I guess wait until it slowly drives me mad, because it's
You
just
should post, when you know you're not going to be seen, post a fire alarm battery through their door with a note that can't be traced saying, here's for your fire alarm. That's passive aggressive.
That is passive aggressive as fuck. My problem is my upstairs neighbor. We've had run-ins with them because the plumbing in our flat went weird, and basically any time that they ran a bath, their bath water ended up in our bathroom sink, and our bathroom sink is a lot smaller than a bath. That's sorted now. It's now sorted, but it was awkward. So yeah, they've also ended up flooding water through our ceiling in the kitchen before. But then again, sometimes we end up having people over and they can get a bit drunk and rowdy, and sometimes they throw meat onto our balcony.
Live and let live, baby.
But live and let live. So I don't know. I think the cowards option.
Passive aggressive message from my neighbors, and I'm like, whenever something's happening, I'm like, I'm trying to do this and that, and I've got so much going on, and then I'll notice something, and be like, why the fuck haven't they done anything about that? Maybe I should have a word, and then I'm like, I can catch myself and be like, yeah. Imagine if it was the other way around. It's like, and I will sometimes get a message where I'm just like, something hasn't happened, and I'm like, My girlfriend's not very well. I'm trying to look after a dog and run my career and record a podcast and do my tax return. And do
Oh,
all
well,
my
I'm sorry this is such a bother to you, David.
Yeah,
Good day.
I'll stop pissing in the corridor.
My. So I'm very well. Other than that, and having a song from the terrible musical Amelia Perez stuck in my head.
I don't know what that is.
It's a musical that's come out. It's a movie musical.
A musical.
And it's come out. It's gone viral because it's bad.
Sick.
It's bad by many matrixes, and it's won some awards.
Matrices. What
But
awards has it won?
It's won, I think, a Golden Globe for best musical or comedy, and it was like,
Really?
yeah. But it's also, I don't trust the award seasons because they're the award seasons and they do fuck ups, because there's a certain kind of award film that will get nominated and they'll always be bad or uninteresting. And like an example,
There is no
being,
meritocracy in film awards, by the
No.
way. People. It always boils my piss when people are like, and that's supposed to be the best film of the year. And it's like, no, it's the industry rewarding the industry. It's
Yeah.
the same as your boss going, you were the best salesperson this year, or like you produced the best marketing for cars this year.
Yeah.
Like it's not, it's the industry saying what the industry likes, but the industry is very self-involved.
Yes, and it's also, there's a political element of, it's set in Mexico. The main actress is a trans woman, so it's like a kind of like, bloody
that's why
take
you
that,
hate it.
Mr. Trump. And that's why I bloody hate it. The problem is the director knows nothing about those two groups, and it's bad. It's bad. The issue with that is a lot of the outrage online is people going, how dare this win instead of Wicked? And it's like, I hate both. I think though they both sound bad.
You need the opposite of the Petty for Lou advert. Like, how about neither?
But it's sort of like, yeah, the insanity of Wicked and people going crazy and really holding space with it, versus the insanity of, well, this one won, and it's like, yeah, because it was sucking off the award seasons and that's what it was there to do. And I'm sure that there were other musicals that came out this year from around the world that would probably be fucking better than both, so chill out. Fundamentally, there was a film that came out called Loving Vincent where every frame was hand oil painted, and that didn't win Best Animation at the Oscars. I think a Pixar film won it, and it's like, well, yeah, because that's just an award for Disney for being there. So chill out.
Well, it was like that Best Animation feature category was literally invented for Chicken Run. So
Quite fucking right.
Loving Vincent was amazing. I really do like the.
Yeah. Very.
And I remember
very
Lucy
underrated.
being like very annoyed. But like, if you ever felt like this, if you ever are like, how come that award went to that film and not this film? This is a travesty. Just go back in the history of that specific award at that specific show. Go look at all the nominees and who won for that year, and then see how many of the winners actually have retained like their importance or their impact versus the ones that were nominated who didn't win. And then if you want to go even deeper, then go look at the ones that weren't even nominated that year, that had even bigger impact.
Yeah,
and retain it. Citizen Kane did not win Best Film that year at the Oscars. And in fact, at the time, it was kind of panned. And now it's had this retention for years. Fucking Shakespeare in Love won Best Movie.
Yeah.
And like Moulin Rouge won Best Movie. Now, Moulin Rouge and Shakespeare in Love are pretty fun films. But like, are they the best films of that particular year? Maybe.
I mean,
it's all just opinion, but the opinion is based on the people voting for it. And if it's not these people kind of going, we're the industry, we make the films, and from the industry, we kind of say that this one's the best this year,
Mm.
And all awards for films and art are basically just a big recommendation. That's all they ever can be.
I tell
But
you what, never won.
or it's just audience vote, and then it's just kind of like, well, who's the best musician this year in the category of dance and electronica? It's Taylor Swift. Who's the best musician this year in male band? It's Taylor Swift. Like, because it'll just be a popularity. Like, it's either a popularity thing or it's a kind of who the people who make it are saying what they do. There's no literal meritocracy, and so people getting annoyed by it. I'm always just like, what reality are you in? It's
There was
so weird.
hold on.
Oh,
There was a. Oh yeah, what was it? The cheer. Yeah, the cheer moment, the audience cheer moment, which was an audience voted thing in 2022 for the Oscars, and Zack Snyder's Justice League, the Snyder Cut, won because his fans are insane. The fans for that were insane and spammed the fucking message boards until it won. And it's like, yeah, don't put store in a war. And it's very similar in comedy or in theater or in art. An award is there are 100 different mechanisms behind the scenes that are already whirring before that happens. And very rarely is the best joke at the fringe the best joke at the fringe, because
sometimes the best joke at the fringe wasn't even told in that show that year.
Is that a thing?
Did somebody say that out loud? Right. So
Naming no names.
Naming no names. I don't think every single joke at the fringe is listed out, and then every single joke. Have you seen how many?
I would really like the best
each day. Or is it that there's a publicist who gets a list of jokes and then sends it in, and the ones that fit the criteria to be printed in the paperwork best? Because some people argue that the best joke of all time is Norm Macdonald telling a 17-minute long joke. Now, would that fit?
Yeah, of course not. I think one day the best joke of the fringe should just go to someone who was like in a Sainsbury's going like, well, if it doesn't scan, of course it's free. They should do it like that.
But any of those things, like the people who do get those best jokes of the fringe things, it's just another thing that they can get people in to see them.
Yeah.
But like the thing with these awards is not this is categorically the best, or if you don't like this, you are wrong. It's always, hey, this is regarded well. And if you like this sort of thing, you might enjoy this. There's so much stuff in the world, and somebody's like lighting a thing up going, over here, this is good if you like this sort of thing. It's not, this is categorically the best thing. No. And if you think about it, like it's categorically the best thing, that's when you end up in the realm of cynicism and you're just carrying around like, well, I don't like it.
I think the next fringe, people should take David Lynch's approach and sit in the middle of the street with a cow. That says,
for your consideration.
Yeah.
Laura Dern for your consideration. That's pretty good. I'd like Laura Dern in my next Edinburgh show. That'd be fantastic.
That'd be great. A real curveball of a famous person to bring on stage.
Be nice, wouldn't it? Be real good. Well, James, at the end of that round, because you hold opinions well and the battery in the person upstairs fire alarm isn't doing too well, I'm going to award you a classic 10 points. So
there we go.
At the end of that round, you're on 2,010 points and I'm on 2 million points.
Well.
For round 4. Oh, remember how I said about
round 4.
David, before we get into anything else, I just want to say
bit of visual gags there. Love it. Oh.
David, Round 4 is, of course, no. How are you? David, how are you?
Oh, I'm all right.
Hey,
Hey, oh, that's funny. Combining the folk from America and the Kaiser Chiefs, and all it leads up to is hi. Pretty good. We had a conversation just before we went live that you've got your first gig back tonight from the year. I had my first gig back last Thursday. We're recording this. I always want to make sure that I know what date we're recording this on, just because once we recorded something, had a bunch of jokes, and then something horrific happened in the news that was of a similar theme about 3 days later, but before we'd put the episode out. And I always just want to be like, we didn't know.
oh God,
It's the 15th of January.
all
Last,
the cupboards.
yeah. Last Wednesday, I did 10 minutes in Bath, and then on the Thursday, I did 10 minutes in Bristol, and then on the Friday, I wasn't gigging, and my body was like, "Yo, where's the adrenaline?" I
Oh
was
no.
so antsy in my head.
Oh
I was
no.
like, I need some booze or something, and I've not really been drinking. I was like, I just need
Yeah.
need something because I got the adrenaline back into my body and was like, yeah. Like the first night after I'd done my gig, I hadn't gigged in a while. I was just like, oh.
Oh boy.
And then a headline Jesters in Bath on Saturday, which was lovely. It's a new club. They've only been open about 3 months, and I'm really grateful to Sam Hawkins, who set it all up and is doing wonderful with it.
Hawk Turkins.
Yeah, he's akin to me. He is my Hawkins. It was wonderful. It was really, really good fun. And then did 5 minutes of the Bristol Comedy Festival on like a Best of the West thing on Sunday, and then did Chops last night. So I'm now like 5 gigs deep. Like, yeah, I like the thing I do with my life, which is different from when I was doing December gigging going, have I ever been funny in my life?
How do you find doing fives?
Yeah.
Because I find fives the most terrifying time.
Now.
Yeah.
So I went through really struggling with it. One of the worst times I ever did a gig ever was the second gig I'd done back after Edinburgh was 5 minutes at Beat the Frog in Manchester, where I didn't beat the frog, and I'd been doing, I'd just finished my second Edinburgh show, and I'd done 5 minutes, I'd done an hour every day plus extra spots. And I'm like, I'm getting all right at comedy, and then I couldn't get through. I didn't beat the buzzer, because when you walk out in an hour, you're like, you've got to have the gears basically. And then I was arrogantly going, I was arrogantly going, well, I can do 5 minutes and that's fine, which is very stupid. Like my whole thing for this year is controlling my effort. And I actually did pretty good at this 5 minutes because after Christmas, I was kind of bored at the beginning of my set. So I've spent the last couple of gigs changing the beginning of my set. And then I was just like, I'll just do the first 5 minutes of what I've done. And because I'd done it like 3 gigs already and I was getting all right, and then I did it not kind of checking what was coming next, but it's new and fun, but I was just kind of exercising it. It went well. But you just have to have that immediacy with 5.
Yes.
And I think you just need to know how to gear change. And I think like just assuming that it will be fine because you've done it in the past or that you feel like you're above it is out the window for me now. And I'm like, if I'm doing 5, it needs to be like bam, 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 bam. And that's fine. And it's like it's that pacing thing. You don't really, because if you're doing 10, if you do the same that you would do for 5 twice, by about minute 7, they will be a bit exhausted and be a bit like, we need something a bit different, and you need a different pacing there. 20, you need a different pacing. 30, half an hour to an hour is the notorious at 40 to 45 minutes. You need that downbeat or whatever because you've been through whatever. That's the trope at least. And I think I had actually been fearing 5s a little bit, and then I did 5 the other day, but I just kind of went in with the purpose of just trying to get the beginning of my set right. And I think in the past I've been like, well, I want to flex my muscles more and be like, I'm above this. But it's like, if you can nail 5 and you can nail the other ones, if you can nail 20 but you can't nail 5, then and be like, well, I do 20s. Like that's not I don't know. I think that's just kind of like an arrogant thing where it's like, if you can find it.
Yeah, this is the thing for me. It's like I'm gonna approach all gigs this year with the same, because London is a fucking nightmare to get any gig, even horrible underpaid ones. I'm just going to approach any gig like it's a good gig or a big gig, and give it the same level. That's not to say I'm not going to try stuff, but I'm going to give it the same level of welly and professionalism regardless.
If you're like, we've all been on bills where everybody's died on their hole and then one person's absolutely fucking smashed it, and you're like, what happened there? And then you're like, well, that guy's just so good they can do good anywhere. And I have occasionally been the person on the bill that did smash it when the people around me did die.
Yeah.
And that mentality was like, I'm just gonna, if it's gone wrong, turn the room and just get everybody on board and be there and not be like, not just go, this is a shit gig, it's gonna be shit. These people are here, they're out. Don't just throw it all away beforehand. It might still not go very well, but at least if you're in the room and you've tried, you've given it a go. But yeah, I literally have changed my tune from Sunday from what I thought doing 5 minutes was like, which was like being constricted, to more like, okay, you got 5 minutes, go, stick about.
Yeah.
Do. See you in a bit. So that was good. I've been added last minute to the Bristol Comedy Festival, which is tonight. And for reasons that I won't get into, and completely understandable reasons, the organizer has been trying to launch a comedy club and a festival at the same time. He was like, I'm going to get you booked, and then only got me booked on Monday. It's now Wednesday. Mention this to you now. It would have happened in the past by the time it's uploaded. I'll let you know how it went. But I have actually sold some tickets now. I was on like 1 ticket this morning, and I'm at least up to 5.
Well.
And the ego side of me is like, I want to sell out, be good. And I'm just like, right, what can you actually fucking do? You got offered it.
Yeah.
Are you going to say no and not do it and not be part of it? Or are you going to do it and just do what you can with what you've got? So I'm quite excited for that. But it does mean that I've been like, we just did the first chops of the year last night, which went fantastic. We had Spencer Jones just doing an opening 10, although he did about 6, just dicking about with the dog lead, which was fantastic. He got added last minute. We're trying to organize that and get it all promoted and everything. The podcast that we're doing right now is back up and running, trying to do that. Gigs are back up and running, trying to do all this stuff. And I still haven't done my tax return. And so there's been I basically on Monday, when somebody was like, do you want to do your show on Wednesday? I'm like, yes, that's great. I really want that. And now I'm like, okay, I've said yes to too many things. How do I balance this and do it without hurting myself and all that sort of stuff? But it should all be fine. But it's just really funny. I literally speak to my therapist on Monday, being like, it's all fine at the moment going into the year. I'm quite hopeful. And then cut to like this morning, and I'm like, I've got to do like 19 things. But they're mostly all good things. And so I'm excited to be here in this position and do it. I'm excited to be chatting to you right now, James, on the best day of your life. And I love doing comedy and I love gigging. And I really had a bit of a difficult December. I did not take to December gigs well. I overwhelmed myself with having too much to do. And I just wanted to like, I approached all the Christmas gigs I was doing with the sort of, I'll just get through this, rather than like being proactive. And then I came away from them being like, they didn't go as well as I wanted it to. And it's like, I wonder why. And now I'm like, okay, I've sort of I'm like done a bunch of gigs now. And I'm like, okay, I've been funny and people have enjoyed it. And I've not left being like, fuck. So I'm feeling in a pretty good place right now. We'll see how I am by next episode we record. But yeah, things are all right.
Oh, well, David, fuck Christmas. And I'm going to give you 3 million points. So, David, as we slam into audience favorite round 5, you're on 5 million points, and I'm slightly behind with 2010 points. 2010 there, the start of the coalition government. Well, my God. It's round 5. Let me find the right tab for it. Round 5. Everyone loves round 5. Round 5! Round 5! Round
Round 5.
Well, wasn't that something? James, round 5 is of course called Stop Me Up. Stop me up, I'll never stop playing Crash Bandicoot.
Well, David, that could make a grown man cry.
Yes. Opa! The Sony fanboys are such lads because they receive immediate gratification for turning something on. The king of game console startup sounds is undoubtedly PlayStation, but can you tell me which PlayStation startup sound is for which console?
Oh, hell yeah. I'm all in. I'm all in.
I know you to be a bit of a Sony console person, James.
I'm a bit of a gamer.
Bit of a gamer girl over
Solitaire.
here. Actually play video games.
Uh,
I know that
Minesweeper?
you have a copy of Spider-Man on PlayStation 1 because I borrowed it and we've talked it to death. And we will continue. Oh my goodness! And I know that you've had a PlayStation 4 and I know you recently got a PlayStation 5. I don't know where your other knowledge lies. I also don't know about your other knowledge of other games consoles, really. But you don't need to know that right now. You just need to tell me which PlayStation is this startup sound from. How
Okay.
confident are you feeling?
Well, we've got 5 options, unless you're going to be fucking rogue here and hit us with the PSP and Vita.
Well, that would have been funny, wouldn't it? I did not think about that.
Hey, there we go. I'm already winning.
Or did
Let's
go.
yeah. Let's
Question
go.
number 1. Which PlayStation is this startup sound from?
PlayStation 2.
That's PlayStation 2, if ever I heard it.
Oh, James, let's just listen to the full thing to see if you were correct.
PlayStation 2. Day and every day.
Oh, I'm sorry, James. That was the PlayStation 3. Sorry about that.
No.
Oh, by the way, this is for 6.82 million points a question because that was how many units Crash Bandicoot sold.
Okay.
I didn't quite
Okay.
realize how many points I would be on right now, and that actually might be quite useful to you.
That would
But
be.
let's see if you can do any better with question number 2. Which PlayStation console is this the startup sound for?
PlayStation 4.
It's the PlayStation 4. It's the sexiest of the PlayStations. So it's the PlayStation 3. No, PlayStation 2.
Correct, James. It's PlayStation 2.
Yes.
The best one.
There's all to play for.
There is literally all to play for. How do you write out 6.82 million in numbers?
6, 8,
6,
2, 0,
1,
0,
2,
0,
3.
0.
Great. Smashed it. Big fan of my own work. James O'Donoghue, question number 3. Which PlayStation is this the startup sound for?
PlayStation 5.
PlayStation. That's going to be PlayStation 1, but they're ambitious.
PlayStation 5.
You're saying PlayStation 1?
Yes.
I'm sorry, James. That was the startup sound for PlayStation 5. You've got
Oh.
one more opportunity here to pick up some points. Which PlayStation is this the startup sound for?
That is the PlayStation Pi.
What, 3 point?
Yeah, it's
1
just
for 1
after 3,
return.
but kind of before 4.
Is that like when they had those like weird in-betweeny X-Men films and
Yes,
X-Men,
it's the
1 point
PlayStation Origins Wolverine.
Sorry, that was actually the PlayStation 6. So you fail. You fail.
Oh.
But I still love you. You are now in the lead, though, as you are on 6,822,010 points, whereas I'm only on 5 million points. There truly is something to play for as we sojourn into round 6.
Round 6.
David. Round 6 is, of course, not presented by my fair hand. It is instead presented by a very special guest who I'm just ushering into the room now. I'm inviting them in. A little clue there. Hello, David. I'm Count Dracula, and I welcome you to my round. David!
Hello.
Come, you must have known of my arrival. I've been sending you psychic messages from beyond the sea. Only a heinous build-up of tahini, marijuana, and white women with dreadlocks would have intercepted my missives. Bristol? Oh dear. But that's no excuse. I'm on my way. But before I arrive, I want to know that you, as my new apprentice and familiar, know your vampires from your campfires, your Nosferatu from your Nos canisters. So, David, I shall list you some people. You shall tell me if they are vampires or not. And I also must apologize if you can't understand me under my thick Transylvanian accent. David, Terry
Yes.
Wogan, is he a vampire?
Is Terry Wogan a vampire? Is that why he only ever like narrated the Eurovision? Because he wasn't like invited in, so he just had to like watch it on telly and then record the audio. I'm
Yes,
going to
of
say
course.
vampire.
Well, David, no, he is, of course, a incubus, hence why he was so damned irresistible.
It's fair.
David, is
Exactly.
Wes Streeting a vampire?
Yes.
No, David, again,
Oh.
I'm sorry. He has no blood in his body. Michael Ball, is he a vampire?
The singer?
Yes.
Interesting. He seems like a very jolly man.
He is a rather jolly man. A vampire's not allowed to be jolly.
I guess it depends on how much blood there is going around. Because I would say the beginning of the film Blade, there's some very jolly vampires in that rave.
Yes. And could they have played Sweeney Todd?
Well, all of them?
Probably.
Okay, maybe not. Michael Ball. I'm going to say no.
Oh, I'm sorry, David. Michael Ball, of course, is a vampire. A child of the night. What music he makes. David, Gary Oldman. Is Gary Oldman a vampire?
Are you suggesting that he got through so many wives because he sucked all their blood out?
Yes.
So many wives, Gary Oldman. An
So
alarming
many.
number. 5 wives. Maybe I was just trying to rhyme wives with fives. Yes, Gary Oldman's a vampire.
Yes, of course, he is a vampire, but instead of blood, it's piss. He drinks piss to live. Or at least that's the rumors buzzing around Berlin. So congratulations, I'm going to give you a point for that. That's 1 point. And finally, Christopher Lee.
Is Christopher Lee a vampire?
Christopher Lee a vampire?
He's a fucking legend, unless there is some information I don't know about. Just like incredible. He's obviously like a soldier in World War II,
Yes.
and he was an actor in many things. He was Scaramanga. He had a third nipple, and he flew a plane that was a car, and he had a gun that was also a lighter and a pen. And he was Count Dooku, and that's fun. And he was Sauron, and he influenced the way that the stabbing scene was filmed in Lord of the Rings, because Peter Jackson was like, when you get stabbed, scream loudly. And Christopher Lee was like, BT dubs, I've seen a man be stabbed, and when he hears all the air gets sucked out of him, and so he kind of goes, but Peter Jackson was like, okay, I don't want to hear about your scary stories anymore. We'll just film it correctly. Goodbye. Also, 2 heavy metal albums, Christopher Lee. and I
Mm.
think he recorded both of them in his 90s. So let's go with yes, he's a vampire.
No, David, he is not a vampire. You see, I don't know who he is, but he definitely sounds very handsome and not like he's wearing a wig at all. Well, David, the reign of the vampire is upon us, just as long as I don't come across my one weakness, the light from the sun, which I shan't because I'm moving to England. That's a Dracula joke. Good day.
Bye, Dracula. It's good to see you.
Whoa, Count Dracula there. Bloody hope he comes up on camera.
Oh, that's a good point. As long as there's no mirrors around. I had a conversation via WhatsApp the other day with somebody who's in Australia, and they sent me a photo of out their window when it was 28 degrees, and my entire body just sort of deflated in a way that I was like, oh, I remember. And I sent them a picture being like, oh, look at you getting vitamin D from the sun. I'm literally getting them from like gummies because
yeah.
the sun has been banned due to like woke media or something. So, yeah. Have we discussed on this podcast the clip of Gary Oldman talking about the best note he ever got from a director,
Yes.
where he goes, I got a note from Christopher Nolan. Now, I never usually get notes because he's like, oh, I'm fucking well good. And then Christopher Nolan came over and went, there's more at stake here. And he went, that was the best note I ever received. And I'm like, from the sound of it, it's the only note you've ever received. And also, it's kind of like he just came over and went, can you do this a bit better, please?
Yeah. Yep. There we go, Gary. And with
Gary.
that, it's time for the results.
Well, James, there has been a significant change since the last update of the results, as 1 point has gone to somebody since then. Now, James, Sir David Hoare, I'm on 5,000,001 points, which I think is a comfortable amount to win nearly every other episode of Is This Enough? But in a stunning turn of events, you, Sir James O'Donoghue, are on 6,822,010 points.
That's too much pressure, man.
You receive a bosom for a pillow.
Oh, lovely.
Whereas I have a bosom for a profile picture. Again, I've been hacked.
Oh, what a shamil.
That is a shame. If you have enjoyed the podcast and you'd like to keep up to date with everything we've got going on, please follow us at Is This Enough Pod on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can also sign up to our Substack, which is isthisenoughpodcast.substack.com. James, where can we find you on this internet?
I've been James O'Donoghue, and you can find me at Is That James O on Insta, James O Comedy on Blue Sky, and Let the James Begin on TikTok.
You can find me at David Hoare LOL on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube, and davidhoare.substack.com. James, has this been enough?
Yes, I would say so. We're through to regionals, David.
Yeah! Regionals. Which region are we going to?
The South North.
Good. Well, it's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from James. It's goodbye from Dracula. And it's hello to whatever else you're doing next with your life. I hope you enjoy it as much as James O'Donoghue has enjoyed today.
best day.
Goodbye. I received this glasses cleaner with Van Gogh on for Christmas.